In this video, I'm going to share with you a recent group call with me and my clients where I go over fat mobilization, fat oxidation, and certain supplements that can help with fat loss. So I host 2 group calls a week with me and my community and the many of guys that I work with where I cover high-level nutrition strategies, aiming to teach them sustainability, aiming to teach them the actual nutrition education that they need to sustain long-term sustainability. So they come and they ask questions about their programs, they ask questions about nutrition. So these group calls are super, super valuable for me and my program, and is why my clients are seeing the most progress on the internet right now. So I'm going to go ahead and play the hour-long group call that I hosted. So enjoy, skim through it, absorb the information, and enjoy the video.
How are you guys doing?
I was cursing your name again in the gym today, so.
Good.
What's up, Adam?
Rick, how we doing, man?
Doing good. How are you, sir?
Oh, not too bad, man. Just another day.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Waiting for some other people to jump in. Tonio, how's it going, man?
Hello. Everything is
doing?
good. Everything is good. Very good. Very good.
Hey, man,
Eating a lot.
You're looking fantastic, man. Down a couple pounds already. Can't beat that.
Yes, it's impressive. I'm eating. I haven't been eating like this for a while, you know. And when
Yeah.
I used to eat like this, I was much heavier. So nice. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Hey, but welcome to the team, man. We like to eat.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Mike, how we doing, man? Another new low weigh-in today, huh? I mean, yesterday, huh?
Yep. Feeling good.
Hey, can't write it up better than that, man. Just some more food, new low weigh-in. Can't write it up much better.
Yeah, 15.
15 pounds, man. What is it, like 6 weeks?
I think so. I think this is the 6th week. Yeah.
15 pounds in 6 weeks. Not too bad at all. Not too bad. Rick, you're just cruising, man. You are cruising. That weight is steady. You're eating like what, like 800 more calories a day right now?
900.
900. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But Chris, what's going on, man? Workout's going well, I assume?
Sorry, yeah, they're going good. I just leaving the gym now, so.
Good deal. How was your lift?
Oh, I hated it.
Good. That's good. But yeah, man, even Chris, dude, like you're up like 500 more calories and your weight is not like inched.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And Jacob had a new low weigh-in this week. I know Jacob's down here somewhere. He heard me. But anyways, everyone's week's going all right so far?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Maybe that. We'll wait till some more people jump on in here. So I told you guys last week, I've been working on a new software for you guys. So here soon, each of you guys within the next week, probably get a text from me. The software is going to actually connect to your personal self. So check-in forms will be just sent to you over text, just quick and easy. Just making the system more efficient for every single one of you. So getting that up and running, it's been kind of like a 2-week process, but we're at the end. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So should make everything run a little bit more smoothly for you guys. So I might pick out a couple of you just as test subjects to see how well it is working. But anyways, overall, everyone doing pretty well this week. I mean, everyone here is down in weight, looking happy, feeling good, feeling full. Chris's legs are still jelly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I'll go ahead and get right started. So a couple of your guys' programs specifically, I end up putting two supplements in there, vitamin D and some apple cider vinegar. So I mentioned last week I've been doing a lot of research on it, and I've been doing it for a while. And diving into the research with it this week, I did a lot of research on, Jacob seats at the gym. I did a lot of research on actual blind case studies they did on those specific subjects. And I mentioned some of you guys particularly who did you get that into your plan, that like at the end of the day, it's not a miracle, like a miracle supplement. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not gonna, in some cases, it could help certain people more, right? And so just covering all our bases with it. So the research that I've been doing on it is like more correlated to actually like the fat mobilization process. So as you get older, like we mentioned last week, vitamin D in your body actually starts to decrease, right? So vitamin D is an extremely, extremely important supplement when it comes to mitigation of inflammation, right? And we even talk about when you're younger, make sure to get sunlight. The receptors in your skin over time don't take in the same amount of sunlight. And so I think someone had a question this week, is like, well, if I get enough sun, am I all right? Well, it's not like a direct like supplement from the sun. You can't really gauge to the, I guess, milligram how much vitamin D that you're getting in through the sun. So in the case study that they went through, and I make sure to all the case studies I do multiple case studies about supplementations, what they do, and then even clinical trials that they did as well. And one clinical trial in particularly is really stuck with me, and I mentioned it to a couple of you guys, but I want to mention to a group, is that they took 150 people, and 82% of those people that had vitamin D deficiency also had insulin resistance, right? So what insulin resistance is, your body's unable to like process glucose. So obviously what I do, for all of you guys, all of my clients, is allow your body to take in more glucose. So with that being said, they gave those 82% of people a vitamin D supplement, and that dropped to 18%, 60% decrease in insulin resistance. So the reason why we want to put this in here, and we want to cover all our bases when it does come to supplementation, because cellular activity in your body only has so much room for energy, right? If your cellular activity in your body is busy taking care of X, Y, and Z in the form of inflammation, stress, cortisol, and it doesn't have as much cellular activity and energy expenditure to actually deal with, say, mobilization of body fat, right? So on my YouTube channel, I did probably one of the best case studies on fat mobilization and fat oxidation on the internet. It took me about 4 hours to write out the whole script. You guys are more welcome to go take a look at that out. But like this, in a high level overview, what fat mobilization and fat oxidation is a two-step process to lose body fat. So in your body, you have fat cells, right? You don't get rid of fat cells. They're there. What they're actually filled up with is certain triglycerides, right? So to free those triglycerides, one, you have to put your body into a sort of need for energy, right? In a stressful environment. So the number one way to activate these receptors, because all the fat mobilization and fat oxidation is controlled by your nervous system, right? It's specifically controlled by your nervous system. So what you want to actually trigger these, process to happen, the number one hormone in your body is epinephrine, right? Adrenaline. But it's not just like the adrenaline that you would normally get. It's putting the body into enough stress where it needs epinephrine and adrenaline. So think about the triglycerides in your fat cells as, a house. If energy in your body comes into the point where it's stressful, epinephrine and adrenaline is running, and now you are through your workout and you're burning through glucose, certain fatty acids will go and knock on that house and say, hey, we're running out of energy. We need more energy. So they release the triglycerides into your bloodstream, and then you have to oxidize it. So if you release the fatty acid triglycerides and cut those triglycerides off and go into your bloodstream, but you don't oxidize them, they will go back into the fat cells, back into the house, and they will stay dormant once again. So a lot of people think fat loss is just a linear thing, that, it's just burning calories. But it doesn't matter. You have to actually put yourself in your body in a state of actually needing energy before you burn fat cells, right? So where do you get adrenaline and epinephrine from, right? Your workouts, putting your body in a state of, constant stress, weight training. So the reason why I have all of your guys' certain programs on a 6-week mesosplit program, because many of you guys, one, have probably done workouts where you've went, like months maybe doing the exact same thing every single day. You know, after the third month, your body just kind of gets used to what you've been doing. You don't get this certain nervous system responses the first day you were to do it. So with MesoSplit programs, a 6-week change, we're constantly changing that stressor. We're constantly putting your body in a state of, ooh, this is new, which increases epinephrine and adrenaline response. So within your workouts as well, when you're in a high intensity training environment, up to 24 hours after that high intensity training interval, you begin to oxidize more fat, right? Up to 24 hours after. So how do we oxidize fat? How do we burn body fat? So once that the fatty acid triglycerides into your bloodstream, you have to oxidize them. So the best way to oxidize body fat is a form of low intensity cardio, walking, right? So with that being said, the opposite effect actually happens with low intensity cardio. So during your workouts, you burn more glucose during your workouts, but oxidize more body fat after. When you are walking or doing like a fasted cardio state, you are actually oxidizing more fat while you're doing it, and then afterwards you're burning more glucose. All right. So you guys understand why we have 6-week MesoSplit programs, why sleep is so important if your nervous system is a severe response to actually mobilizing body fat and getting cellular activity to not have to deal with stress, not have to deal with XYZ, but actually mobilize body fat, and why we do steps in the form of low intensity cardio to oxidize body fat, but also burn glucose after, right? So that triggers the question, okay, well, why don't we just do things more in a fasted state, right? Does it matter if you do stuff in a fasted state? Because epinephrine and adrenaline response is a response to being at a fasted state, all right? So it's like reason why I had you do your guys' cardio, right after your workout or right when you wake up is because at a fasted state, you have the least amount of glucose in your body, which is a clear responder to the release of fatty acid triglycerides in the form of fat mobilization. All right. So people always ask, well, what's better to do it after your workout or in the morning? To be honest, typically it's in the morning. You're at a more fasted state in the morning. And even like some people ask me, well, what if I work out fasted? It depends. It depends how much energy you have. There's a give and take ratio. So yes, up to 60 minutes of high intensity training, at a fasted state, your body automatically starts burning more glucose at a higher rate, right? But you have to think as well, you have to put in context actual muscle tissue, how important muscle tissue is, and how important actually have the energy to maintain that muscle tissue in the form of high intensity training. So people ask me, well, can I fast during my workouts? Well, the truth of the matter is that it doesn't really matter, right? Because they ask, like, should I eat before my workouts? And in my opinion, it doesn't really matter too much. And yes, the literature states that like at a fasted state, you'll burn more glucose, you'll mobilize more body fat. But like I said, you have to put into context the actual training itself, how important it is to an actual plan. If you're training fasted and you're getting a quarter of the work in that you could with more carbohydrates in your system, then there's a give and take right there, right? Then there's no point at all because you're not even putting your body in enough state of needing enough to release epinephrine and adrenaline and to actually mobilize body fat, right? So, when people my answer to people is when they ask if they could train fasted honestly, it depends what your energy level's at. Because realistically, glucose in the body really stays pretty modular, right? Your intramuscular tissue can hold up to 500 grams of carbohydrates. It doesn't really matter the timing, because think about it like a cup of water. If you have a cup of water full of, let's say, 400, grams of glucose or carbohydrates, and you go to sleep, you wake up and you still have 300, you burned a little bit through your sleep, just with NEAT, non-energy activity thermogenesis, but you still have 300 grams of glucose intramuscular. You technically still have enough glucose for energy to actually submit your training. But sometimes, like some people, there's like a psychological trigger to also eating before your workouts because you feel satiated. You feel like you have a good spike in energy, right? So, there's a bunch of literature done on fasted workouts, not fasted workouts. And to be honest, like it differs person to person. If you can get the same intensity from a high intensity workout at a more fasted state, absolutely. Like, I don't think it's a problem. But they also did a ton of studies on people that they took 2 test subjects, and this is pretty interesting. And one, they put carbohydrates in the form of liquid, and they divide them up, and they gave one test subject X amount of glucose in the water and in the form of like a kind of a liquid substitute, and then they gave another one 0, like no carbohydrates, but told them there was carbohydrates in it. And realistically, they didn't have too much different of training styles, right? Because like one, the carbohydrates before your workout like is more of a psychosomatic thing, right? Like I get more energy, like I have a good insulin response. I feel full, I feel satiated. And it's even me, like I don't train fasted either for that reason. Like I get tired way too quick, it feels like. I'd rather have my carbohydrate tank at 500 before my workout rather than at 300, right? So the science behind fasted workouts is like, honestly, it doesn't matter. But like for me, it does matter because like I can feel the difference, and maybe it is psychosomatic. But that's still, you got to put into context, like a psychosomatic state, like getting a better workout just because I think that I feel better, like that's a positive, right? So that's not something I want to take away. So some other things that you can actually do, some supplements that actually release epinephrine and adrenaline is caffeine, right? Caffeine releases epinephrine and releases adrenaline. So like, and I don't push caffeine on people because it's obviously, yes, it's a substance, right? The last thing I do with any of my guys is tell them, hey, you have to eat this, right? Or you have to drink this. But in a certain sense, getting caffeine before your workout releases epinephrine and adrenaline, right? Also, there's certain substances like L-carnitine, which has a great fatty acid mobilization response. And I even named a couple in that video. I gotta go through my notes again and be able to kind of pinpoint as well. But yeah, there is certain like substances that will help with that. One is L-carnitine, and is actually it was actually really interesting as well. So you guys have probably heard of the cold shower, the cold plunges, right? So the reason why people think that cold plunges are supposed to be, I guess, reason for fat loss, because what does cold plunges do? They put your body in a state of adrenaline and epinephrine, right? But that's only half of the equation, right? Because you got to actually oxidize that body fat, or the epinephrine and adrenaline releasing the mobilization of body fat through, maybe like a cold shower or a cold plunge. The triglycerides just go right back into fatty cells, and you're just wasting your time freezing your balls off. Yeah. So like what I'm saying is like there is so much literature behind these certain things of fat mobilization and fat oxidation, but once you start to understand them, you can kind of put them into maybe your own plan. And like I said, everybody's going to be different. And the reason why I put like substances like vitamin D3 or even like apple cider vinegar as each one of your plans is because it's not going to hinder your progress, right? Whether it's just a percentage wise makes you better, or like you are certainly deficient in this area, it's only going to be beneficial, right? So even getting down into literature with NEAT, like non-energy activity thermogenesis. So they actually took studies on people who have trouble fidgeting, right? The fidgeters, the leg bouncers, even me at my desk when you guys see me kind of going like this or whatever. So these subtle movements in your body actually oxidize fat faster. right? Which is pretty interesting. So they did studies on people who are pretty sedentary, and then they also did studies on people that are very big fidgeters, like ADHD or whatever it may be. And the people that fidget, like move around a lot or do like little tiny movements during the day, or maybe like just walk to the kitchen and back, burned almost 800 to 2,500 calories more per day in the form of non-energy activity thermogenesis. And I thought that was really, really interesting, because think about somebody that eats whatever the hell he wants and just stays lean all the time. And like start to think about what he does. Maybe he fidgets a lot. Maybe he walks to his kitchen and back, right? So it's really neat, is a really extremely, interesting subject to, even kind of get in there as well. So along with fat oxidation, you have GLP-1 pathways, right? So a GLP-1 is your body's like hunger response, kind of. You guys heard of Ozempic, right? So what Ozempic is a GLP-1 pathway inhibitor. It tries to mimic GLP-1. So it's so powerful. The hormone of GLP-1 is so powerful that doctors actually made a like clinical subject for it. Obviously, it's not very healthy when you're getting it from an outside source and putting it in your body, when your body is not in the correct state to receive something like that, because you're just going to bounce back as soon as you take it off. But what is interesting is what actually increases GLP-1 is protein intake. So we talk about how protein intake has a higher thermic effect, right? So the reason why I have you guys at a higher protein intake than most coaches is for that exact reason. Right? It increases GLP-1 pathways, has a higher thermic effect, and increases NEAT, right? Non-energy activity thermogenesis, the amount of energy that your body burns at complete rest. So, like, the thermic effect of food is quite literally how much percentage of that food is burned through calories in the calorie conversion process. So protein has 30%, thermic effect. Fat has 3%, which is very, very low, which is a reason why we try to lower the fat intake down to help with the mitigation of digestion. And then carbohydrates is about 10. So, all of these things that I'm telling you guys is that, one, like, obviously, this is all really, really interesting to me. Like, I love this shit. Like, this is like where I live, right? But to understand how your body works and why we're doing what we're doing helps with me relaying the information of why what is in your plan, right? So I only put things in your plan that I can back by actual data and science and say this is why we're doing it. This is what works in the human body and why it doesn't, right? I don't put stuff in any of your guys' plans where I'm just like, hey, this might work. I specifically do for a specific reason enough research to come to you guys and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. This is my belief behind it. And these are the case studies I've done over it, right? So even get into like apple cider vinegar. So apple cider vinegar triggers something what's called peroxine peripheral activated receptors, right? Which helps with the mobilization of body fat, right? So obviously apple cider vinegar, for like, as long as I can remember, I've always thought it was like more of just like kind of a face value like supplement. Like people just took it because it's like a cold shower type thing, like, or like a red light therapy. It's like whatever. Like, yeah, it's like maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But like it is good for digestion. First of all, if you guys have tried it yet, you probably already feel kind of like, your stomach starts to like get that acidic feel to it, and you just feel like stuff thrown a little bit through your body a little bit better. Because the acidity in the apple cider vinegar actually helps with the breakdown of food. That's what its main form is supposed to do. But peroxine peripheral activated receptors is a modulator that actually allows your body to mobilize body fat, right? So, like I said, we don't know any specific person to person how well each one of these supplements are going to benefit you. But based upon the science, it's not going to hinder you. Right? So covering all bases is when our specific reason and what I specifically do with each one of you is increase your metabolism, optimize your digestion, and optimize fat mobilization as well as fat oxidation, right? So as well with that, and we kind of go back into NEAT, like non-energy activity thermogenesis, apple cider vinegar actually tailors to something called uncoupling protein 2, which helps burn more body fat at rest in the form of NEAT, right? So you see how all these things that I'm putting in your program kind of start to tie in together, right? With the mobilization of body fat, with the oxidation of body fat, but also with the increase of digestion, which tailors to better metabolism, right? So that was a really interesting study that I've done this week. I made a really big YouTube video on it. But I wanted to bring it to you guys because one, I want you to understand what's in your program, right? I want you to understand why we're doing what we're doing. So you guys have any like questions about that? I know I just dropped a huge atom bomb of nerd shit on you guys. But do you guys have any questions on that? Pretty interesting stuff.
Yes, very interesting. What I can tell is that, as I told you originally, I kind of was feeling pretty bloated. And I've been doing since pretty much Monday, the apple cider vinegar with pretty much with water and some salt in it. And I just ate a big bowl of chicken and rice and no bloating whatsoever. I'm feeling, amazing. Yeah. I'm certainly not able to say all those, how do you say, pathways and things like that. But I'm feeling, I know I'm feeling great.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing is too, once you start to feel the benefits and you start to see the benefits, but then you understand what's going on with your body, why I put it in there. Then you're like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. I'm feeling it. This it actually makes sense with the way he's saying it, kind of without the big like fancy words. But that's just exactly what we do. Every single one of your program. The reason why most of you guys in the first weeks of my program, we got guys 15 pounds, 20 pounds down in just 1 week, is because we optimize digestion right off the bat. That's the first thing I focus on is digestion, because once you get that thing flowing through your body real good, nutrient absorption kicks up, stomach bloating starts to go down, and then you feel 10 times better. Ben today, the guy I put in the Wins channel, he looks like he's lost 50 pounds in 4 weeks, right? Simply because we just tweak some stuff with his digestion, raises carbohydrates to reduce inflammation in the form of, kind of your gut. And that's what happens. You just get that nice deflate look within the first, in 4 weeks. And that's when it really starts to get fun, because as you start to deflate and you start to lose weight, you're going to hit a certain part where you kind of stop, and that's completely normal, right? Rick is a great example. 4 weeks, lost 12 to 15 pounds, been kind of steady right there since, but his strength every week's gone up. He's starting to get more and more defined. So as we start to get that first initial bloating out of the way, and first initial water weight out of the way, we start to get the carbohydrates in your system to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. Then we focus on your strength training program, which kind of blows you up like a balloon, where you're, in the sense, your muscles, right? So the more you grow into your skin, the more tight you look, right? So you can kind of think about your muscles as a balloon, right? So take a balloon, for example, that is completely deflated. Not really much to it. But if the metaphor being the actual muscle tissues in your body, and inflate that balloon with glycogen, carbohydrates, it starts to look much tighter against the skin, right? So, I've put this in a metaphor before, like putting a balloon under your shirt and completely deflating it. You don't really see much of it, right? Your shirt looks kind of baggy. You can kind of call it the skinny fat phase or whatever. But how do you get rid of the skinny fat phase? You blow that balloon up with glycogen in the form of actual good muscle tissue, and it looks and appears more prevalent, right? So that's what we try to do, and that's exactly why, we improve a shit ton of a digestion, focus on strength training, slowly raise your calories, and as you start to build muscle tissue, your body absorbs glucose better. Your body absorbs calories better. And then you start to look, feel better, more strength, more energy, testosterone starts to go up. And then you start to look the part. And then, you have guys like Jake, who I sent today, eating 3,600 calories and goddamn pretty fucking lean, like pretty damn shredded, right? But that's exactly why we do what we do. I use a more scientific approach, which every single one of you guys, instead of the cookie cutter things that the internet's telling you, to eat more, to eat less, and do more. That's not always the case. Your body needs a certain set of micronutrients, needs a certain nutritional value. You need to get the calories up because, as men, your bodies aren't meant to just eat 2,000 calories, right? That's truthfully about it, right? Your body's meant to eat a lot more because think about in prehistoric times when, you were out, savaging for food, protecting your family, whatever it may be. The human body is actually designed to intake a lot more calories. People have just gotten sedentary over time, which has lowered the amount of calories it actually takes. But, if you put your body through strength training and good nutrition and nail the macronutrients, you can get bigger, you can get leaner, and you can increase your testosterone as well by having more muscle tissue, right? So the way I do things is completely backwards than most people, but at least you guys are seeing that it's working. So, I'm really happy for you too, Antonio, man. Like the coolest thing to me is like, the approach that I take is that I try to have you see progress as soon as possible, right? Because the progress is motivation. When people see progress, they buy in harder, they commit further, and you go in all in even on themselves, right? So it's like kind of more of like, the quicker you see progress and the quicker you know it's working, the quicker that you trust me with the plan. And then once we trust each other, now it's a damn well working relationship, right? So that's specifically what we do right off the bat. Get you to lose 10 pounds, optimize your digestion, feel better energy, and then you buy in, and then now we're having fun. So man, I'm super happy for you too, man. It's just the first week, so we're into a ride.
4 days, actually. Yes.
Yeah, fuck, 4 days. But yeah, dude, I'm excited to see what you see look like next week. So, anyways, yeah, really big discussion today about more on lines of the scientific things, but like this is stuff that I live for. I can talk about this stuff for hours. That's why I have a whole YouTube channel of me just blabbering about stuff that I do my research on. So, and like I've said before, if you guys ever want me to dive deeper into a Zoom call on certain things, whether it's supplementation, whether it's, I don't know, like even like meal timing or whatever, like if I don't know it, I'll go find it. Because I found that as a challenge to me. You guys like, well, like, what do you think about this? If I don't know it, I'll go find it, and I'll come back with scientific data research and tell you, like, this is what it is, this is what I think, and this is why it works. So if you guys ever want me to, just like shoot me a text, like, hey, what do you think about this? I might just say, hey, to be honest, I have no idea right now, but give me like a couple days, So, anyways, with that being said, like I said, if you do have anything, just shoot me a message with that. But as for the new software, I'll keep you guys up to date with it. Like I said, it's been probably a 15-day process of every single day getting everything set up and running for you guys. But it's going to make everything a lot more simple for you guys. You're going to get text with the group call links, so you don't have to go into Slack. It's going to be a lot more organized, especially as the community grows week by week, like tremendously. Like with 65 guys, we just need to be more calculated and more organized. So, Anyways, do you guys have any questions for me?
No questions.
Damn, it must mean I'm doing a pretty damn good job, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, Adam, I had something about the workouts. So legs was yesterday,
Yeah.
and I kind of went full send on that, and I had to get carted out of the gym. But today I was, all day today I was just kind of like, oh man, like I know I got a good workout, and I was just, I had to go out to the flight line or whatever, and I was like, I don't want to walk out there. But then I got in the gym today, and I was like, okay, I don't want to be here, but I'm here, so I'm gonna get after it. And then just with like as I was finishing up a set, it was a pretty heavy set. It was on the incline bench. It was last couple of weeks I set a high, or set the high, and then last week did the same amount of reps. And then today I was like, I got, instead of 10, I was like 8. And then I was just like, nope, no more. And then just kind of, bailed out of it. Is that, I know you can't like set a PR every time you're in the gym, but at what point, I mean, I guess the question is like, I look at a weight and I'm like, oh, I can lift the next one. And I lift the next one. I'm like, yeah. But then at what point do I just, hey, happy with what I'm doing right at the moment, and I'm going to do more reps to then get a PR next time, or, do it more intense next time?
I mean, so you're asking like one, like how do I know that like I just gave it my all?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I knew I gave it my all, because it was like I got to number 8 and I was like, all right, go for 9. And then, nope, I got it about a quarter of the way up, and I was just, I had to bail out. And it was just a product of, worked out real hard yesterday, didn't get a lot of sleep last night. And then today was just kind of like, I don't want to go. And then just trying to psych myself up to go. Got in there, was like, okay, everything's progressing good. I'm on my weights. And then the last 2 reps just didn't get it. And, I was like, I know sometimes you have those days in the gym. But I guess at what point do I go, okay, hey, that was just an anomaly, or maybe I need to dial it down a notch to get to the reps?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a fantastic question. I'm actually going to correlate it to more of like a powerlifting perspective. So powerlifters, for example, like they go weeks with lifting high heavy weight, and to be honest, like they get like pretty well into their programs, and they don't really get much stronger week to week. But when they back off and get their body rest, recovery, cortisol level decreases, some good food, then they start seeing the progress they've made under the inflammation they put their body on over the course of the last 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So to answer your question, you're not like, it's not an upset, bad thing that you didn't like match what you did last week, because you're not going to. Like, It's not going to be a new PR each week. I think the biggest thing is that like you're honest with yourself that like you did push yourself as hard as you will. The actual output to what you got, I don't think should like correlate in too much as well, because you have to put in a context. Like, one, it's hard to see progress underneath the stress, cortisol level, and inflammation that you constantly put your body through with strength training, right? But like on the days that you do take off, you do rest, you get off your feet, you get good food in. And as we start going up with the program, you're getting more food, you're getting more room for recovery. And like for you specifically, because of your job, we're really trying to focus your off days on more of just that, like recovery. And so like as we start to go around this path, like and that's good. Like I'm glad to hear that as well, because one, that means that we're breaking your body down pretty well. But like I said, from a powerlifting perspective, they'll go weeks without like hitting a new PR. They'll go weeks without, maybe like degrading in strength as well. But as soon as they pull back, get the correct rest, get the correct sleep, and you get a little bit more food increase, like they start seeing incredible results, right? Because at the end of the day, rest, recovery, and mitigation of inflammation is the most important aspect of your training as well. So I don't think it's any red flag at all, Chris, that like you only got 8 out of 10. Right. I just, in your back of your mind, you're like, I need to take my next rest day really fucking seriously.
Okay. So I guess and then that leads to another question then of, like, you're talking before about how you just kind of fall into the rut and you just kind of do the same thing over and over.
Mhm.
How do you know when it's time to move up? Because I mean, I basically just gauge it like, if I can get 10 reps with this, and then I go to the next higher weight and I get 8, it's like, all right, well, the next time I'll get 10, and then I get 10, and I'm like, all right, sweet, that's my weight now. And
Yeah. So what I usually do is say it's like 3x10.
Mhm.
So like I will start off with 3x10. Let's see whatever the weight would be, and then on maybe the next week I would start the first one off at a higher weight, and then do the next two at my same weight. And the next week I'll do the first two at a new high weight, and if I get those, the next week I'll do the third one. So I'm piecing my 3 sets of that movement up to where I'm progressing each week.
Okay.
That makes sense. And like if you can get one more rep like out of that, then that's fine, right? Just making sure overall that you're just constantly like trying to hit that new high. Like obviously that's important as well. But to like really know when it's time to increase the weight is when that like you nail all 3, 3 or 4 sets, whatever it may be, perfectly without any resistance, and you're like, okay, well now I need to probably go up. So start the first set at a higher weight next week, second set at the same weight you did that week, and the third set at the same. That was pretty damn easy. All right, do the first 2 as a new high weight until you can do two like the first 2 at a new high weight and the third one at the same one you've been doing. And then you can kind of progressively cut each lift up or each micro movement up into one specific set being higher than the rest. Is that
Okay.
make sense the way I'm kind of saying that?
Mhm.
So and like you can't like it's hard to do that if you were to do it the opposite way. If you were to do, I guess like say 10 10, 10 10, and then that last one do at a new high weight because you're already fatigued all the way,
Right.
right? So I would start the first one off at your new high weight. And if you can't get the second one at the new high weight, go back down to the first one. Or the
Okay.
last one. But that should help because you don't have to go into your lift saying, last week I did 90s for 10 3 times, so now I have to do 100s for 10 this time, or 95s, whatever it may be. Instead, do a 95s for 10 for the first one, 90s for the second, 90s for the third. That was easy. Okay, do 95s, 95s, 90. That was easy. Okay, now you're there. You're 95s straight through. And that's kind of how you progressively overload each set with each micro kind of movement.
Okay, so maybe I'm hitting it wrong then, because I was doing incline bench today. Started out with 90s, and then 10 of those, 10 at 95, 10 at 100, and I got 8 105s. And
Pretty
the
damn
last
good.
couple of weeks,
I don't know if you guys just heard those weights right there, but that's pretty damn good.
but the last two times I did that specific workout started at 90, 95, 100, 105, and I got 105 for 10, 2 straight weeks. And then today I crashed on 105s. I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
So, but should I maybe start out and then just not worry about increasing every time, just do a couple sets at the lower weight?
I would say definitely start your first set so you typically you should have kind of like a feeder set, say the reps 10, do 1 for 8 at the weight that you're wanting to start at. So it's kind of like a warm up, right? You're not going all the way, but you're doing the weight that you would do for 3, but you're cutting it a little rep short. So at least you're not you're getting nice and stretched out.
Okay.
Say you were at 95s. Or let's say that you want to do 105s, that's the new one you're going to. So I would do 105s for maybe 8, cut it off, don't go all the way. Okay, I'm ready now, I'm good. So do the first set at 105, second set try to do 105. If it doesn't work, if you kind of crash and burn, back it down a little bit, and then the third one do the same thing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Cool. Did I answer the question clearly?
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah, and then just applying that philosophy to everything else.
Yeah, exactly. No, perfect. But damn, that's pretty damn good, Chris. Like 105s. That's pretty damn
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I've only got so it goes 5 pounds all the way up to the next one up is 115, and I'm like, I'm not there yet.
Mhm. We'll get there, man.
Yeah.
Get there. So that, and that's the great thing about it, Chris, is that like, you know, you're up a crap ton of calories. Your weight hasn't budged, but you look completely different, and like you're hitting new PRs.
Right.
So I had my first one-on-one with Lewis today, and not Lewis, who was it? It was Joseph. And I think I've said this before, but I know I did a pretty damn bang up job with a client. If at the end of your program, you're about 5 pounds down from where you started, 5 to 10 pounds, right? But you look like you're down 50. Why? Because we specifically focus on losing fat and gaining muscle. So you might not see the biggest change on the scale, but the most important thing that I'm hearing and seeing is the strength increases as the food goes up and the weight stays the same. So scientifically, you know, that muscle tissue that you're growing has to have some sort of weight to it, you know? So, no, as you start to go up in calories, you start to increase in weight. And even if like your weight stays the same, that's how I know I did a pretty damn bang up job with a client is when we're at the end, you know, we're 5, 10, and it varies. Like obviously there's outliers, like they lose like 80 to 90 pounds, like Phil, and then we have to like kind of put some muscle back on. But what I'm trying to say is that like in overall higher level sense, I want to see muscle growth more than anything, because muscle growth leads to more sustainable results, a body that allows you to eat more without gaining body fat, and then allows you to burn more body fat at rest in the form of thermogenic activity, in the form of NEAT within your body. Because you got to realize that muscle tissue is very highly metabolic. It takes a lot of calories to sustain muscle tissue. So having more muscle tissue means you can eat more, and if you eat more and burn more calories by sustaining muscle tissue, your body automatically burns more body fat in that place. Does that make sense the way I'm saying that?
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, yeah, just keep killing it, Chris. Like that's like, those weights are disgusting.
Yeah. So like you said, it's the number on the scale is the number 4 priority that you
Yeah.
have. And you know, I'm like, well, all right, so number 4 priority. But then when I see everybody else with the wins, I'm like, damn it, why not me?
We're gonna get there, man.
Down 15, whatever. I'm just like,
We're gonna get. So like in I 100%, and I completely understand where you're coming from with that. And
but
like
that's like we talked about.
yeah, that's why I talk to you guys specifically about it.
Yeah.
Because most coaches, they'll come and they'll just see, you know, because most people who have tried to lose weight are usually eating pretty low calories, right? Like you were for a while.
Yeah.
And most coaches will be like, okay, let's lower the calories, right? Well, what are you going to lower them from?
Yeah.
Are you going to eat 1,600 calories at, you know, almost 40 to 50 years old? You're eating like a teenage girl, right?
Yeah.
So I do take a different approach, but that means that I do have to explain the reasonings why.
Yeah, but like I said, with the going to the gym, it's, having that, like I'm hanging on to the workouts is like, well, okay, just I'm trusting the process and lifting a ton of weight here that I wasn't before. So that's where my wins are coming from.
Oh yeah, throw them in the wins channel, man. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, throw some PRs in the wins channel, man. In a lot of cases too, like even in the worst cases I've seen, and you're in a great position, Chris, 100%. But in the worst cases I have seen, sometimes it does need to get worse before it gets better. You know, and that's just the truth about it. Because like if somebody comes to me and they're eating 1,600 calories and their hormones are all just, you know, screwed out the roof. And this isn't you, Chris. I'm just saying.
No. I'm just, but yeah, I kind of fall in that category of, I was doing that very thing to myself for a long time. So it does, Rome didn't get built in a day. So
right. And like, yeah, in like the worst cases I've seen, sometimes it does need to get worse before it gets better, right? Sometimes people need to gain 10 pounds before their body catches up and their hormones start to work properly. I know specifically haven't worked with somebody who's ever like been through that, but I've definitely heard of people who've had that happen to, like, and like that's just the case. Like, you know, sometimes in certain cases and outside anomalies where people are so deficient in a certain macronutrient or a certain hormone property that it does need to get worse before it gets better, right? But, you know, I call it like, you know, 6 months worth of effort for a lifetime worth of sustainability. That's a pretty damn good shake off for me.
Yeah.
So anyways, guys, I want to let you guys get out of here. If you got no questions for me, this is a really good group call, actually. Like, I really did enjoy this. I want each one of you to keep killing it. Like, Antonio, keep checking in and killing it every single day. Mike, keep healing that shoulder up. Keep hitting new low weigh-ins. Rick, keep looking crazy, man. You're looking sick. Jacob, keep up. Jacob had a couple new low weigh-ins this week as well. And then Chris, keep hitting new highs, man. Like, you guys, like I said last week, I'm not only here for you guys, you know, physically to make sure you guys see progress, but I am here for you guys emotionally too, right? I understand that this is half of what we do is very emotional when it comes to terms of weight, how you look, how you feel. So like, I am here for you guys emotionally as well. So if you guys need anything from me, you know, I'm always available, even if it's just to chat, because that's part of my job, is to make sure you look good, you feel good, and you see great progress. All right. See? All right. Well, you guys have a good rest of your night. Let me guys know if you need anything. And hey, I'll see you guys Sunday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Bye.